It says that we are live here on YouTube, and so be it, we are. What is up, guys? Chase Oliver here, bringing you another edition of Chillin with Chase. This is something that I've always wanted to keep doing here on the channel, kind of like my video podcast. After a long day, maybe you guys had a rough time, y'all come in and chill with me. It's not always what the topic says in the video. Sometimes you guys may get to ask questions. This is different than the Q&A because it's just more of a chill vibe. I mean, it's kind of pretty much similar to the Q&As on the channel, but this one right here, I'm going to try to figure out how to be smart and big brain with this, extract the audio and make it into a podcast format for everyone to check out, even if you can't be live here on the YouTube platform. So that's the main goal with the Chillin with Chase type content here on the channel. So hopefully you guys can unwind with me after a long day. There's no set days when I will do Chillin with Chases. It's just kind of like when I feel like doing Chillin with Chase, we do a Chillin with Chase. That's pretty much it. Like sometimes like with streams, it is whatever. So yeah. The last Q&A with Mir having a weeb conversation was the best Q&A I ever did. I don't know. People started tuning out once I started talking about the weebs. So I don't know, man. Maybe it was one of the worst. But from a number standpoint. But it wasn't enjoyable. Shout out to Big Mir. Make sure you guys check out Amir's podcast too. He's finally got going on Spotify. He's going to be releasing episodes there. So you definitely want to check out what my man Mir is speaking about. But anyways, let's talk about some wrestling real quick. We got some professional wrestling to talk about, mostly just from WWE. Everything else in wrestling is kind of normal. It is what it is. But in professional wrestling, we got something to talk about with this title for title situation. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the WWE and the WWE Universal Championship, or as I like to personally call it, the Big Blue. Okay, I call the WWE Universal title Big Blue. I don't call it the WWE Universal title. It's called Big Blue. Just like we had Big Gold, we had Big Blue. And it's going to be title for title, winner takes all. And look, I've talked about this before. This is not something I personally want to see as a wrestling fan. I could care less about title for title. I don't think title for title matters, to be honest. I think, though, for what WWE is trying to do with this year's WrestleMania, and I say this a lot for this year's Mania, and I try to tell people, this year's WrestleMania is business mania. This year's WrestleMania, WWE is trying to sell out not just one night back-to-back, 2 nights back-to-back, because all it does by selling out 2 nights inside of Jerry's World is that you are proving to yourselves of how big of a company you are. Can you imagine the entity of the WWE being at least to put 90,000 back-to-back? That's crazy. Not a lot of NFL teams can do that, doing 2 games back-to-back or 2 games in 1 week can sell out at a stadium like that. All this is for WWE to build up their portfolio for when they sell it. That's pretty much what they're trying to do. They're trying to, show how strong of an individual property WWE is. And so title for title makes sense for that type of mania. It makes sense that you want to go there. A lot of people will say, oh, well, you're thinning out your resources, but you're not really thinning out your resources. You're not thinning out what you have by doing this. What you're doing when you do title for title is that you're giving everyone a reason to attend night number 2. Night number 2 is when title for title is going to happen. Now, what we do for night number 1, what WWE does for night number 1, we'll have to find out. But for a lot of people, they'll act like, oh, this is like, yes, WWE is not meant for the fans right now. Like, I hate to break it to y'all. If you like this, that's good on you. But a majority of wrestling fans don't like this. And a majority of the wrestling fans need to understand WWE, especially when it comes to Vince McMahon, is at a point where he wants to get out of Dodge. He is done with this company. But when you go to an arena like Dallas, keep in mind, I like to talk about the business side of professional wrestling sometimes, because sometimes wrestling fans don't understand. You can't just go to Dallas, Texas Stadium, and say, we're main eventing with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Who is bidding on that? Who is saying in Jerry's World that we want to have WrestleMania for 2 nights if your big main event match is Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins? I'm not trying to say Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins aren't big stars, but I'm just saying if that's your opening bid to someone saying why Dallas, Texas should host WrestleMania, that is not a big opening bid. That is not a strong opening bid. And that's why sometimes some fans just need to kind of sit back sometimes. And, I get it. Easy to say, well, if you build up the wrestling core, it's fine to do that. It's fine to do that. I am not saying don't build up your wrestling fan base. What I'm trying to say is when you are presenting Mania to shareholders who are not wrestling fans, keep in mind, the people who are bidding for WrestleMania are not wrestling fans. They could care less what happens a lot of the times with WrestleMania. They want to know, how are you going to sell these tickets so that way we can profit? They just want money. They want the event because of the money that they're going to have. But not every time are they going to approve of what you're going to put out there. They want to know, hey, are we getting Brock Lesnar? Are we getting Dwayne The Rock Johnson? Are we getting this wrestler? Are we getting that wrestler? It's almost like, kind of like what they do with Saudi Arabia, except none of the news really gets reported. Because keep in mind, LA, they really want a WrestleMania. For years, Philadelphia was pushing so hard for WrestleMania. They even offered less. They offered more than a lot of other arenas just to get a WrestleMania, because they were saying, hey, we don't care what you guys put on the card. We really just want a WrestleMania for Philadelphia at Lincoln Financial Stadium. And WWE said no to them a lot of the times because it's also depending on the market. Philadelphia is a great sports market, don't get me wrong, but they chose New York over Philadelphia a bunch of times. So it's also a marketability thing that a lot of people need to understand. This is WWE working with a big time stadium. This is not WWE working with the Staples Center or WWE working with a 15,000 venue arena. They are selling to 100,000 people. They are trying to tell Jerry Jones, hey, you know how your football team gets around 90,000 people every Sunday? We're going to do that back to back. We are going to have 2 nights of a stacked WrestleMania. And that's something they have to deliver on. I get a lot of people like, oh, well, no one. Here's the thing with WrestleMania. Here's the thing. WWE does WrestleMania for the casuals. It's not for hardcore fans. It's casuals all the time. WWE only has maybe 1 or 2 matches that the hardcore fans really care about for WrestleMania. And a lot of times they get those matches out of the way. WWE will play in our court. They will go ahead and give someone a push we want. They will give us an AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. But guess what? We're going to have to sit through our Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar too. That's just how they work. But yes, all the time with wrestling fans, for whatever reason, they just always feel like, oh, well, if they book it like this, understand. Now, I get it. You may have a great fantasy booking. I feel like I have great fantasy booking sometimes, but you got to understand, put your perspective. If you were presenting this to Jerry Jones, to someone who is a shareholder, that is something that wrestling fans need to put into perspective. Do I really like the idea of title for title, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, the 3rd time that we're getting this WrestleMania feud? No, I don't really care for it. But guess what? Jimmy cares about it. Joe cares about it. Whoever the shareholders care about it. And ultimately, at the end of the day, WWE cares for it. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what we're going to get. You see, we can sit here, we can rant and rave how it's a terrible feud, but at the end of the day, they're going to do what they're going to do. And at the end of the day, there's always business to be had, no matter what wrestling company it is. It's always going to be about business first. This is business mania. The fans' enjoyment, not every fan is going to enjoy WrestleMania. I tell people that all the time. Not every fan is going to sit here and be like, oh, man, that was a great WrestleMania. Like there'll be times where you will say, oh, WrestleMania is good, and then there's that one fan's like, nah, that was bad. But at the end of the day, a lot of people that are saying the Manias are bad, that's not the fan base WWE's going after. WWE is going after a different fan base. The people who tune into Mania, who don't watch WWE, but they tune into Mania every year, even though they hate WWE, WWE could care less about those fans. Those fans do nothing for them because those fans are just one-nighters. They're looking for the little kids that are growing up. They're looking for, lapsed wrestling fans that randomly just pop in and out. Because as much as AEW likes to say, oh, we target the lapsed wrestling fan, you know who really gets the lapsed wrestling fan going? It's WWE. And especially when you have a big-time title match like Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. And I know a lot of people say, well, Chase, it sounds like you're defending WWE. I'm not defending them. I'm just stating out facts. I'm just stating out things that, should be logical for a lot of people. But for whatever reason, when you talk about wrestling, logic goes out over the head. It's like one of those things where it's just like they think it's your opinion. This is not an opinion. This is something that you deal with from a business standpoint. This is something that you will see a lot of major businesses do. They want to get in on that pie, especially in an event like WWE. I've done some event planning in my life. I have a marketing degree, guys. I've done some event planning. I've done marathons. I've done many things and worked with many different corporations. It's not just like, oh, yeah, well, CBS, you guys want to run in this marathon? No. What's the benefit to CBS? What do they get if they run into the marathon? I think of this stuff. And with WWE, they're thinking of it as, hey, we got to sell tickets, man. We got to sell tickets. But yeah, let me go read the chat. Sorry about that, guys. You guys know sometimes when I start flowing, I just do it, man. We're going to answer some questions here in a minute. So yeah, get your questions in too, guys. You guys know a lot of times the channel is just a Q&A channel, which it is. But sometimes it's good to, get these topic videos in there. We're going to answer questions. So, but yeah, I always try to tell people title for title. It's one of those things. WWE is doing this because that's what they can do. Yeah, it's Nick Conamania. You're right, Venom Hernandez. That's what it is. It's Nick Conamania. What's up, Degenerate? How you doing, man? Which is why they're trying to get every part-timer as possible. Yeah, exactly. Why do you think they're going for Stone Cold Steve Austin? You need something for night one. Night one's probably going to be the most stacked WrestleMania night ever. Because night two, they have title for title. And whether fans are interested in it or not, people are still going to attend that event. But night one is going to be really, really stacked. There's a reason why Rock and Austin main event at Astrodome. Yep, exactly. What up, Chase? I'm half pap on Brock winning the title back. On one hand, it does intrigue to me as rather than Roman or Brock wins at Mania. But on the other hand, I feel that Lashley got wasted. Well, Bobby Lashley got injured, apparently. So Roman has a Bruno Sammartino title in the work. Yeah, and that's good. For me, Brock doesn't need to win the title or win the Rumble to face Roman. Yet again, they didn't make anyone look credible. Yeah, exactly. That's the issue. They had this idea. This was a plan all along. Now, what comes out of title for title, we will have to wait and see. I don't even think hardcore fans care about WrestleMania. They only care about bashing WWE every single day. I don't get those fans. They like just wake up every day and it's like they have to bash one of the two major wrestling promotions. Can't y'all just be happy for once? It's like every single time with wrestling fans. I don't know what it is. They just wake up and they're just like, okay, how can I be miserable today? How can I just shit on whatever company that I watched today? It's like, God, dude, get outside, go do some push-ups, do something productive with your life. Like if you feel like it's productive to just wake up and say, hey, I'm just gonna go shit on this company. It's like, oh, come on, man. And trust me, I used to be like that too sometimes. But a lot of times I try to tell people, hey, my Twitter is like mostly shit posting. Like it's not meant to be serious. Like I'll post serious things every once in a while, but it ain't gonna be that serious. That's WWE's fault for not building up the wrestling fan base since they lost so many for over the years. Yeah, well, the problem is with WWE is like they're like we've talked about this a bajillion times. I don't know why I have to get into this subject again. But they're so afraid of someone becoming bigger than the brand when they shouldn't be. Like WWE should be building up guys to be bigger than the brand. Like that should be their main mission. Hey, can you be bigger than us? But the problem is they're so afraid because WWE is one of those companies where it's so easy to get out of your like unless they want to keep you hostage or like say like, no, we're not going to let you go. But a lot of times, WWE, they can like if you sign like a short-term deal or if you find a good lawyer, you can get out of your contract with the company. They're so afraid of people just becoming bigger. And we've talked about this so many times on this channel that's the reason why they don't build stars like they want to. And when someone does become big, they feed them the WWE propaganda, the WWE BS. Like they give them the WWE PR notes, like where we have to say, oh yeah, everything's great in WWE. Oh man, I love the opportunity. The guys and gals need to step up. The guys and gals need to stop walking on eggshells. Like just talk to Vince. Like it works if you're like, and keep in mind, I do agree to some extent. Guys and gals should step up, but at the same time, I don't feel like every guy and gal gets treated the same way. I feel like Seth Rollins benefited from the fact that John Cena, Triple H, and ETC were still around at the company when he was going up on top. Because Seth Rollins was texting them, he was talking to them, he was pitching creative ideas to them too. Guys that Vince trusts. Nowadays, I don't feel like there's many guys like that Vince trusts. I don't even think Vince trusts Roman Reigns all that much. I feel like he's like, okay, well, Roman's my top guy, so I have to use him. But I don't think like Roman Reigns has so much say where if like Roman Reigns like, hey Vince, maybe you should push Buddy Murphy. Like Vince would probably be like, yeah, whatever. You know? Like I feel like Rollins benefited from the fact that, he was able to, reach out to Cena and Triple H when they were still big time players in the fold. While I don't know who Ricochet has. I don't know if Ricochet can do the same thing. I don't know if Rollins is looking out for guys like that. I feel like, with certain guys, he signs them to contracts either to keep them away from all elite wrestling, which makes sense. You don't want to lose good talent to the enemy. But at the same time, too, he makes sure that if they do become too big, he reminds them like, hey, I'm the reason why you're big. Never apologize for missing a stream, Gentle Jector. You're all good. Kakashi83K says, we all know for a fact Chase Roman is not losing his belt to Brock. I'm starting to feel like Roman matches are predictable. That's the thing. Brock's pretty much the only guy that you could believe could beat Roman Reigns. But do you want to go there? You've seen what it was like when you made Brock Lesnar your long-term champion. I mean, the ratings were much better back then, so maybe it benefits. But do you want to go through that again? Brock being a part-time champion. Is this something that interests you? Do you feel like this is the payoff that, because keep in mind, they ended the Undertaker's streak that lasted 21 WrestleManias over 24 years to Brock Lesnar, who's a part-time guy, because Taker believed that was the right choice. Who's to say Vince doesn't say, oh, well, we did it with a bigger name and a bigger stat with the Undertaker? Who's to say that he doesn't do it with Brock Lesnar? Ronda versus Becky is a better match for Mania this year, and Sasha versus Sonya, since it can bring up bigger matches for both Manias. The thing is, though, that this Mania was supposed to be Hollywood. This is Business Mania. This is just filler Mania. This is just a WrestleMania to get ready for Hollywood Mania. This is just a business Mania. This is just like, hey, we don't want to do Becky versus Ronda right now. Makes no sense to bring Ronda back right away just to go for Becky Lynch. And especially because Becky Lynch is stuck in a couple stories that were far more interesting than the Ronda Rousey story. Like the Ronda Rousey story, yes, it's interesting, but at the end of the day, there was two women in that match. Ronda wants to get rid of Charlotte first, and then maybe next year's WrestleMania, we see Ronda versus Becky title for title, or who knows, maybe Ronda versus Bianca. Maybe we get Ronda versus Becky at SummerSlam. So, yeah. Brock versus Roman Sally, the biggest match so far in wrestling. Yep. What's up, Generic Minority? How you doing, my friend? Josh says, I bash WWE, but I want them to be good. AEW ain't perfect, but I get so much enjoyment watching them every week. AEW is always hit or miss for me. Sometimes AEW can be great. Sometimes AEW is kind of meh. Roman should lose the title this year since it would be interesting for him to get obsessed with getting the title back to feed his family. Yeah, exactly. But that would take too much work, and they probably just want to keep Roman going God mode. I just found out another football league is starting soon. Why does this trend keep happening after the Super Bowl for the past 3 years? Money, money. Testings in the NFL. So yeah. No, not this live stream, Ronan Ghost. Maybe a future live stream. Maybe like once 2K comes out, you can be the 2K reporter. Because I'm not getting the game on day one. So maybe when 2K comes out, you can come on that live stream. Not this one though. Chase, with every sport about to end or has ended, how close are you paying attention to the lockout? What's going to take for the players at MLB to agree on a deal? I don't care about the lockout, Weston. They would have had it. There's no baseball this season. I'm going to just focus on my D3 Cal Lutheran University. What are we? Kingsman. That's it. I don't even want to talk about MLB. The whole situation's a mess. I hate to say it, I don't have all the answers for you. I ain't paying attention to no lockout. Rock, Austin, Lesnar are examples of why WWE is so afraid to push anyone all the way because they won't be lifers or they'll just leave. Look at The Rock. He just left. He was just like, okay, I'm done. Stone Cold literally just told Vince, I ain't putting over Brock Lesnar, and he left. Lesnar got to a point where he wasn't even a big star, but he was just like, oh, I want to go play in the NFL, and he left. That's the thing where it's like those guys were just like, they knew it's like, hey, WWE is not end all be all. They know the opportunities WWE can give you. WWE has a huge reach. Like we forget how big of a reach WWE has. It's really just like a global phenomenon that WWE is. That's why people respect WWE a lot, even though it's like considered a fake sport. It has a global reach. The problem is this, though. The problem is this with the World Wrestling Entertainment. The problem with WWE is this. WWE just like, despite being a global entity, they're just so afraid just to make people bigger than the entity because they don't want high turnover, which makes no sense. I feel like you would want high turnover in a company like WWE. But the thing with Cena is Vince tricked Cena into staying. If you think about it, he gave him those Marine movies. He made sure that those movies were dog awful. And then Cena ended up staying because he felt limited. He felt, oh, well, this is all I can do. All I can do is perform for the WWE Universe. Notice when Cena actually, went out there and was in good movies and good TV shows directed by competent human beings, it was like, oh, wow, Cena's actually a good actor. Peacemaker, Cena's great. So I personally think WWE, the whole point of WWE Studios, minus The Miz, who just enjoys doing whatever the company asks him to, they were there to kill the confidence of these wrestlers, to make them, to show them like, hey, you ain't that big of a star as you think you are, That's what I thought. Oh, man. Hey, thanks for stopping by, Generic Minority. Hopefully work is not too slow for you, man. I hate slow days at work. Big E is an example of a guy who has been bigger for the company since he attempted to do it. Exactly. Like Big E went out there, dude, as WWE champion. Bro, he was introducing Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury in the biggest heavyweight rematch. He was doing pre-opens for all the shows and stuff. Like, he was going out there. Big E was saying, hey, I'm going to become a self-made superstar. And then Vince was all like, oh, no. You can't do this to me. It was like the Green Goblin in Spider-Man 1. You can't do this to me. And so he humbled Big E. He was like, what are you doing? What are you doing being charismatic outside of the WWE? What are you doing? We didn't say you could do this. You could tell by that. Because Big E literally freaking was doing a great job as champion outside of the ring. Inside the ring, all the New Day stuff that he was doing and stuff. You could argue that. You could say, okay, maybe the New Day stuff wasn't working as WWE champion. But outside the ring, he was killing it. George the Great says, I feel like people sleeping on Jorge's chances. I feel like you need to sleep on Jorge's chances too. I mean, hey, maybe if Covington wants to take a dive. Taker wasn't wrong with Brock beating him. I still think a current guy would have benefited a lot more. Taker's first loss still burns inside my mind. I still haven't watched it, to be honest. Like the rewatch. It's one of the many reasons why I can't watch wrestling. This was probably when I was rambling. I forgot what point that I made there. Big E's gimmick is the reason his reign came to end. Book the New Day gimmick. Oh, poor New Day. Ronda versus Becky is the bigger match to do since Becky's a bigger name than Charlotte and the bigger casual match. Yeah, I know, but like I said, Becky was tied up with too many stories, and honestly, I feel like Bianca versus Becky is the right story, in my personal opinion. Was it Taker's decision for that Brock loss, or was it Vince? I heard it was Taker. Everyone that I heard was Taker. Fans think too much with their emotions when it comes to Vince's decision on whom he's going to push to the top, not getting that he's thinking of who may draw him money than a good match. Yeah, exactly. And if you could do both, that's awesome. But for the most part, he's focusing on guys that, will give him the return on the investment. Kairi Sane has returned to stardom and is back as a full-time wrestler, now named Kairi, looking in great shape. She was always in great shape. Kairi Sane was never in bad shape. Is WWE bigger than UFC Worldwide? Oh, yeah. That's not even a question. I'm pretty sure Yagon King is going to have a big old message. No, UFC is bigger. No, Yagon King, you can save your messages. WWE is a bigger worldwide phenomenon than the UFC. It is. UFC has a lot more worldwide fighters. I will say that. They are definitely reaching that, getting out there with reach. But when it comes down to it, UFC always relies on like one or two guys worldwide. Like for China, all they have is Zhang Weili and a couple other women. They have a couple other Chinese fighters. Korea, they just have the Korean Zombie. Mexico, now they have Brandon Moreno, but before they just relied on Cain Velasquez. Oh, and they also have Yair Rodriguez. See, the thing is with UFC is they're a worldwide entity, but like WWE is like a worldwide phenomenon. Like worldwide, like people love WWE worldwide. UFC, it's like kind of like they have to force their own fighters to be on the card because like there's no way they would do a Chinese main event and Zhang Wei Li is not main eventing the China card. I mean, they can, they've done it before, but a lot of times you have to have some roots. There has to be some background, some reasoning. Like think about this. This is what I'm going to say to this to end the debate. Would UFC do a Nigeria card if there was no Kamaru Usman, no Israel Adesanya, and no Francis Ngannou? I guarantee you WWE could do a Nigerian card just fine without having a Nigerian-born WWE superstar. The UFC, no way. No way could they do a Nigerian card, a card in Africa without any of those three fighters. That's the end of the debate. Because I already know y'all gonna keep has some comments like, no, UFC did. It's like, no, it's off. Cody Rhodes should come in and face as a face and feud with Rollins in a heel order. That'd be great. If Brock never left WWE, do you think Cena still gets a push and still becomes? Oh yeah, no. Like I don't believe the whole Cena. I was the last one on the bench, and they were gonna let me go. I was about to get fired. Like no, dude, you're too talented. No way WWE will let you go, man. Like Cena was gonna be fine, because they're gonna be on two separate brands anyways. I truly believe they were transitioning Brock to be the face of Raw. Because keep in mind, back then Raw was the main show, not SmackDown. SmackDown was the developmental type of show where it's like, hey, let's see if this guy's really ready to be the world champion or really to be the face of WWE. Notice how Cena, once he became champion and Vince liked him a little bit more than Batista, they switched brands and Cena was the main guy. That's what happens. Raw is the main show. Brock was going to transition to Raw. Cena was going to find his footing on SmackDown. Would casual fans and big sponsors that WWE plans to get behind an Austin versus Triple H WrestleMania 17 main event? There's a lot of what's it called? There's a lot out there. So, like, I think so. They had a big feud, Triple H and Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin, but Triple H still isn't the name value that is The Rock. Do you see Dual Drop as a perfect counter example of Nia Jax being the safest wrestler, not purposely injuring her opponents, and from her experience in ring? Yeah, I know. Like she's the perfect type of abyss type character for the WWE women's division. That's good. Special attraction, looks different than most of the women, and in a good way. It's good to have different body types in the women's division. Like not every woman needs to be like super like skinny or muscular. Like I think she looks great, to be honest, for her weight. I think she moves amazing for her weight, and honestly, she's just really good. I personally do like Dual Drop a lot. She's kind of like that monster that and not in a bad way. I didn't want to say monster, but like that's why I always say like abyss type. That character who's like a perfect foil to certain wrestlers. You won't worry if you give her a world title because she's going to do well as a world champion. And when I mean world champion, women's title. But yeah, no, Dual Drop I think is great. What do you think is the best and worst WWE movie? Man, I ain't gonna answer no WWE Studios question. 12 Rounds in the Marine. There you go. Yes, the WWE is bigger than UFC, but UFC is starting to get that worldwide fan base. Yep, but they still rely on those worldwide fighters. Sasha Banks legit does a lot of outside media with like the Mandalorian does all these weird MTV shows and and WWE does nothing. Sasha could probably also too have like a different contract than Big E. WWE should be using stars like The Rock and Cena to say, hey, make big movie stars, so come watch our show to find the next big star instead of being afraid. Yeah, and we talked about this a bajillion times. Yes, that should be the motto of WWE. Hey, let's grab guys, make them bigger than the company. That way, when they go on and they become big stars, or if they fail becoming big stars, they can come back home and still will be big stars. But for whatever reason, Vince doesn't want to do that. He's just so afraid that he's going to lose talent fast. When it's like really, to be honest, man, like WWE is always going to get talent. That there's no denying. They have such a great recruiting pool. Like look, they have the independents they can recruit from. They have freaking NIL athletes now. They have ex-pro football, basketball, cheerleaders, dancers that come to the WWE. They have models, male and female, who come to WWE. I mean, they literally have such a big talent pool. I don't know why Vince is so afraid of just pushing and expanding that talent pool. It's like he's so afraid to do that. Becky Lynch does a lot of promotion with Conor McGregor and other sports, and she isn't bigger than the company. Yeah, exactly. Like Becky Lynch should be that one person we're talking about, like saying, all right, who's next? Sasha Banks, same thing. Vince messed up for tricking Cena into believing he was a trash actor. Hello, people forget Vince lost Dave Bautista's Hollywood as well. Yeah, and Batista, like, he talked about it before in a couple interviews. Like, he was offered WWE studio films, and Batista's one of those guys where he was like, I ain't gonna do that. And then the one film he said yes to, they replaced him with Triple H because he was leaving the company. They're like, oh no, yeah, what's it called? You can't, You can't be there. Yeah, man. I feel like WWE Studios was just there to fail the pro wrestlers. Like, I don't feel like it was there. Like certain guys like The Miz definitely took advantage of WWE Studios, and good on The Miz. But I feel like a majority of the professional wrestlers, they went out there thinking, oh yeah, this is gonna be my big breakout, and then it was like, oh my god, it's like pro wrestlers pretending they're actors. Like, it wasn't like them actually acting or being different characters. Like John Cena in the movie was literally called John Trident. Like, what are you doing? Like, give him a different name. Make him something different. Make it where it doesn't tie into his wrestling character. He's doing like the Marine thing and stuff when he comes to the ring. Like, do you know there's people who actually, like, at one point in time truly believed John Cena was a Marine because of that? They were like, oh yeah, John Cena's a Marine. I was like, no, he was never a Marine. He just played a Marine. It's like, come on, man. Will anything in anime be bigger than Goku going Super Saiyan for the first time? What? Yeah. Bro, Yagan, can you need to YouTube Crunchyroll, bro? Come on, cuz. Are you joking, right? Did you not see the Demon Slayer season finale ending against Rui? That literally is a huge moment in anime. That is a huge moment. Naruto and Sasuke versus Momoshiki literally broke the internet and Crunchyroll. Goku going Ultra Instinct for the first time broke Crunchyroll for 24 hours. Heck, the final episode of Super broke Funimation and Crunchyroll. They had viewing parties for the final episode. Yeah. There has been bigger moments in anime than Goku going Super Saiyan. Thanks for AEW socks and autograph pick. Oh, you got the socks? Cool. I didn't need them, so there you go. It says it's good on my end. It could be there is some lag. Sometimes there is a little bit of the lag on the StreamYard. My Mac just did an update too, so it's one of those things too when it doesn't update. Plus, my dog was kind of hyperventilating in the background. So, did I play every Saints Row game? Up to the third one. I didn't even play the fourth. Yeah, WWE just makes money for no reason. Final Fantasy 16. No, I'm not into MMORPGs like that. There's still AEW fans thinking that Cody leaving is still work. I don't know why people would think that a guy who just signed a non-disclosure agreement. I don't know why people think this is a work. I really don't. Cena drew more immersion in Batista and was younger, so it was wise for Vince to push him more than Batista. You know how mind-blowing it was for me to find out that Batista was older than Triple H? I literally thought Batista was like this young cat, and then I found out, man. I was like, wait, he's 2 years older than Triple H? Like, I couldn't believe that. I thought he was younger. They'd be like, hey, man, that shows the genes that Batista has, man. He literally had some good genes, man. He looked younger than Triple H. But then again, Triple H was looking rough those years, man. Like that was chubby H at that time. Randy in 03 till 05 was peak of his career in terms of feud and mic skills. I think right now is also peak Randy, but I guess young Gordon for sure. Would I like to see Eugene return? No. Eugene can stay away. Nick Dinsmore is doing fine without being Eugene. If The Rock came back to WWE and told Vince he wanted one last title run in the WrestleMania main event, you better believe Vince would do it, and he would be stupid not to. Oh yeah, 100%, easy. If Roman loses to Brock again, this was the Lesnar era in WWE after he beat Taker. Well, we've been on the Lesnar era. I mean, he beat. Yeah, we're still in the Lesnar era. So I think now maybe we'll make it the Roman era. What wrestlers would you want to see in a Longest Yard 2 movie? Longest Yard 2? Man, how about none? Maybe Jericho. Jericho can actually do stuff, but I can see Jericho being like the Canadian inmate that doesn't know how to play football. He's just like a hockey guy. Mania 28. I like their Extreme Rules match. I don't even remember their Payback match. Do you think Deadpool will appear in Doctor Strange? Could be. What are my top 5 best X-Men movies? And then you asked what are my top 5 worst X-Men movies. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Number 5 of my best could be number 5 in my worst for X-Men movies. Because the X-Men movies are slim. I'll just say this. My favorite is First Class. My second favorite is Days of Futures Past. My third favorite is X2. My fourth favorite is X-Men 1. And then my fifth favorite probably is that Wolverine's Origin movie. And then when you go down to the top 5 worst, it's the Origins X-Men Wolverine movie. And I'm not counting Logan. I'm not going to count Logan. Counting Logan's cheating. But yeah, it's the Origins X-Men movie, Apocalypse. Then the third one would be Last Stand. Second one would be the Japanese Wolverine movie. I forgot, Wolverine 2 Origin, whatever. And then number 1 would be Dark Phoenix Rising, whatever it's called. All right, no more tops, guys. I ain't doing no more tops. Like, I hate to say it. I just don't like thinking on the fly like that. You guys are asking me for top 5. What if I forget something? You know, no more tops. Y'all ask a top, I ain't going to answer. Just being real, because I'm like, man, why are you asking me about my top 5 X-Men? Because that's how it is with X-Men movies. Like, even like the worst one in your top 5 is also one of the worst X-Men movies. Unpopular opinion, but I'd rather have Punk return to WWE instead of AEW since he was a better opponent to work with, like Rollins, Owens, Roman, AJ Styles, etc. I feel like, especially where CM Punk is now, I get if Punk is trying to push like the younger talent, and I appreciate that. But I feel like Punk, a lot of the casual wrestling fans that missed him, just kind of want to see him put over other people. Hero Mania, they just showed a terrible Randy Orton movie, compared it to Cena versus Orton in the greatest feud in wrestling history. What Randy Orton movie was that? Thoughts on the Old Boy movie from 2003 where a man is isolated in a room for 15 years by an unknown jailer. I have never seen that movie. Sounds crazy. I feel that Miz would make it in Hollywood. Yeah, Miz is pretty talented. He's a good guy too. Good morning, Amir. How you doing, my friend? Mr. TNA says Dragon Ball series would have been better if it was at least one series. Vegeta would have been the hero that saves the day. Yeah, no, they keep jobbing out Vegeta for whatever reason, man. Does Yu Yu Hakusho appeal to casuals in your opinion? No. Unfortunately, it just doesn't. Like, first episode, the main character dies, and then afterwards, it's a bunch of goofy stuff that happens. Like, like if you're a casual and you turn into the Dark Tournament arc, yeah, I think it could appeal. But from the start, nah, you can't start it. Because like it's just one of those things where you're just like, ah. What are some wrestlers you paid money to get their autograph? Well, I paid money to go get Charlotte's autographs. I guess that answers one question, Charlotte, because I paid money to get Charlotte's autograph. So AEW exaggerates with former WWE stars. They have too few own stars. They do not know how to book the tag division. They're big wrestlers. Disagree with the tag division. I think their tag division is very deep. I feel like they just don't know how to book the champions as more appropriate. Because I do think they know how to book the tag division, but I feel like their champions, unless they're like the Young Bucks or someone else, don't get enough shine. What do you think of America Top Team being the most hateful faction in wrestling? Who got James Storm fired from Impact and Cody and Brandy from All Elite? They got James Storm fired from Impact? I didn't hear that story. I don't think they got. I think Cody and Brandy left for a reason. They're also one of the most hated in the mixed martial arts world. Or WWE makes a decent job of portraying Batista as a younger guy than Triple H. No, he looks younger. Dude, Triple H was all pudgy back then in 04. Brandy Rhodes is the hottest woman in wrestling that people never want to see on their TV. To be that hot and make everyone want to change the channel takes a special challenge. Conor at featherweight run is underrated or overrated? Conor McGregor's featherweight run is one of the best ever, so it's probably underrated. Chase, honest thoughts on Drake and Josh? Man, it just sucks. Like, it's one of those shows that's tainted because of an actor, what they did outside of the show, man. Because Drake Bell, like, you know, I don't even want to talk about it. It's just disgusting what he did, man. Like, it just pisses me off, man. Because I really like Drake and Josh. I think Drake and Josh is one of the best shows that you can see as a Nickelodeon fan. But just what Drake Bell did, disgusting. Thoughts on Lesnar saying that wrestlers today need to focus more more on learning to get over rather than doing high spots. He ain't wrong. Like, I saw some people take this comment the wrong way, but what Lesnar was trying to say is like Lesnar's in what's it called? The mindset of, hey, let's create a moment people are always going to remember. Your high spot that happens during the match, people may forget, which sucks, but it's true. How many spots can you remember from like the last 2 years off the top of your head where you're just like, oh my god, that happened? The one that I can think of, and this is not even 2 years ago, the one where Cena grabbed like the stairs and chucked them at Bray Wyatt. I remember that spot. And then the only other one that really goes, oh yeah, that spot was sick, was the RKO off the curb stomp. That right there was like, oh, okay, that was a cool spot. Everything else is like kind of like, I don't remember like too much spots off the top of my head. So, what are your hilarious Peacemaker deaths from season one? Let's give it a couple months before we answer Peacemaker questions. I want people to really watch that show, and I don't want to spoil anything for people who have not seen Peacemaker. Where is WWE Studios movies, by the way? They're done. They've been done. I think the last one they did was like that Marine with Becky Lynch and Shawn Michaels and The Miz. How you watch the series finale to Arthur? Fun fact: the show lasted 25 years. I did watch the All Grown Up episode, and it was honestly disappointing. Like, that's how my boy went out. The Knockouts division is better than all the women's division combined in other companies. I don't watch it too much, man, but I do like the talent that's there. I think they have a lot of good underrated talent. Honest thoughts on the iCarly revival? It's so perfect. I really love that they said, you know what? Let's grow up with our audience. We know who watched the show. We know who did. Why try to make it kiddie? Let's make it like where it feels like a Nickelodeon show, but there's some adult stuff sprinkled in where it's just like, oh yeah, I can relate to that. So yeah. What Nick and Disney sitcoms did I watch? Oh man, dude. Lizzie McGuire, even Stevens. I don't know. Proud Family counts as one, but Proud Family. Oh, after that, like it was kind of like whatever. Nickelodeon for sure. Drake and Josh, and then Zoe 101. Those were like the ones that I remember watching. Like I would watch week to week to week. Like I would just make sure I wouldn't miss a new episode. Like I didn't watch no like That's So Raven was cool, but like it was like one of those like I didn't have to watch week to week to week. She's still doing a show too, man. If you are correct, Chase, Batista looked young in 04 and 07, man. Book the chat. If you're a roster, how could you position us on a card? Oh, the chat? So Amir, you would be a main eventer. Jagon King would be my upper mid carder. Like he'd be like my IC champion, and then you'll get one world title win in there. Ronan Ghost, he would be like my X Division guy. Like I'll just make sure that like he's always there. He's fun. People like him. He'll want to he'll probably leave my company because I'm not pushing him a lot. Jackhammer City, he'll be like my big time main eventer too, where it's like he like it's just because his name is like Goldberg's. I'd make him my big time main eventer where he's just like he's overprotected for no reason, but he's just like like hey, if I need a big time guy, it's like him. Kakashi 83K. He seems like he's my abyss. He's my monster. Like I build him up, I book him strong and stuff, but he never really wins the title. But I give him a bone every once in a while. But he's there to put over other guys for when they're ready. Who else is in the chat? All About Wrestling. He's my AJ Styles, just because of his pictures, the AJ Styles. But he's my reliable main eventer, mid carder. I can put him anywhere on the card. People like him. He puts in the good work rate. That's where he is. Hellcat's my X Division guy. Like I'll be honest with you, okay? You an X Division guy. Venom Hernandez will be a good mid-card hand. Like, I'm just kind of waiting to see the promo skills just get up there a little bit. Once those promo skills get up, I'll put Venom Hernandez in the main event scene. But right now, he's a mid-carder. Weston is for sure, like a reliable mid-card. If I need him to put over someone, he's putting over someone. Now, George the Great, he's like my X factor. He's either my huge time main eventer for me, or he's like, just an upper mid carder. But I have big hopes for George the Great if I was booking him and stuff. And then Degenerate Sharingan, oh, for sure, loyal main eventer. Like if we had a championship history, he might be the first world champion, Degenerate Sharingan. I mean, looking at Batista now, it's like, wow, they're like two different people. Yeah, exactly. He looks weird. I don't like bearded Batista. What are some of the saddest WWE returns you've seen? And I mean the ones where the crowd gave no reaction, especially for you as a viewer, that made you sad. I don't even think they're like in WWE, like a lot of TNA returns. But the one that was really sad was like when I saw like Razor Ramon at an independent show and just like drunk, and it was so terrible. Like that was sad to me. I don't think there was any like WWE return. Like probably one time like Hacksaw Jim Duggan came out, but I wasn't sad. But like one time he came out, there was no reaction. Thoughts on the XFL having an agreement partnership with the NFL regarding talent agency and rule changes? I love it. I think this is good for the NFL because they only have 2 preseason games to test rules out. I think it's a good feeder system for the NFL when it comes to rules. It makes people saying, hey, maybe I should check out the XFL just to see what rules could be applied in the NFL. So, yeah, I like it. Lesnar now on the mic is like Lashley when he was destroying TNA. He came from nothing showing he can cut good promos. Yeah, like the thing with Lashley is like I feel like Lashley's limited in like the role that Vince wants him to be. So that's why he has to rely on MVP. That's why he's not really cutting like the promos like he did in TNA. But I feel like Lesnar, now that he's like not following the script, he kind of just does whatever. That works out well. I can never watch Drake and Josh and the Cosby Show again after what happened. Yeah, dude. I always tell I think I talk about Bill Cosby every other stream, but like I grew up like what's it called? I grew up, what's it called? A big Bill Cosby fan. But yeah. The iCarly character cursing is wild. Yeah. No, I have not watched the Texas Chainsaw movie yet. I'm afraid to. Not because I hate it, it's just Texas Chainsaw is one of my favorite slashers. So I don't want to see how they butcher it. Maybe I'll watch it tonight. How did your Chargers manage to screw up Justin Herbert having such a great season? It's called our defense, man. It's called the play calling, man. Chase, what do you think is better, Uncharted or Tomb Raider? Like video game wise? Uncharted for sure, but not the movie. Do you think trading talent back and forth between WWE and AEW will bring ratings back? Kind of. I think it'd be a cool idea, to be honest. I think that'd be something that we should look at. Trading? Could you imagine, dude? like one day, Vince and Tony Khan, they work each other out, they shake hands, they say, this is the trade deadline for the year. And could you imagine if it was like June is like the trade deadline, and we're like, oh, dude, you think AEW is going to trade Kenny Omega for Seth Rollins? It's like, oh man, that'd be sick. Yeah, no, I think it would bring. I don't know if it would bring ratings back up, but it would definitely be like the first time it happens for sure. People would check it out. J Mac, I don't think you'd be a jobber, man. Like, yeah, maybe like a lower mid carder. You'd be my Crash Holly, hardcore champ. Do you want the Bengals to win? Well, the Super Bowl just happened weeks ago, but I want the Rams to win. As an Oregon fan, it was so sad to see how your Chargers managed to screw up my boy from the playoffs. Your team could be this year's Bengals easily. Yeah, I hope so. Yes, I do own a Nintendo Switch. Oh, what? Jerry Springer twerking competitions? No, this sounds terrible. What are your thoughts on VR gaming? Do you see it as a hobby that you can experience through virtual reality? It's actually pretty neat. I actually like some of the stuff with VR. I don't know, man, because a lot of times with video games, you want to sit down and relax. A lot of the VR games make you want to move, dude, and they can be tiring. Like even like some of the most like sedentary VR games, you could be tiring. I'm also I have a big fear with VR sometimes. Like especially like watching too much anime. You're like, I don't want to be trapped. So yeah, no, but I think VR is great. It's just you got to find a way to make it where if people want to sit down, they can sit down to do it. I used to watch Zach and Cody, Drake and Josh, iCarly, Victorious, and Ned's Declassified. Oh, Ned's Declassified I watched. I didn't know that would count as a sitcom. I thought that was more of a Nickelodeon type of show. Oh, you're Paul Heyman? No. There's no managers. Better group dynamic, Urameshi or Team Gone? Urameshi. Team Gone they were only there for like one season. What were the best Super Bowl commercials for you this year? The only one I remember is like the robot puppy, and he like jumped off the building. I don't know why. It's the only one I remember. Better rival dynamic, Yusuke and Hiei or Goku and Vegeta? Oh, Goku and Vegeta. Easy. What were your thoughts on Abyss during this time in TNA character-wise? Oh, he's one of my favorites. Boehner theme song, Boehner character. He just did his job. It was Abyss. Thanks for treating like Christian. Yeah, you're Christian, bro. Well, yeah, that's a good role. That's not bad. Do you remember Tito Ortiz's shocking TNA? I'm not Dave Batista. Oh, I bet you they wish you were. Bobby Lashley got injured from his shoulder during his singles match against Lesnar at Rumble, so he could be getting it surgically repaired 100%. Yeah. Bill Cosby. Oh, no, let's not say that. What are some of the greatest games you played on PlayStation 4? Spider-Man. I mostly had an Xbox One during that era. Chase, would you say was the best second fiddle face of WWE, or at least your favorite? Oh, Orton. Orton's the best second fiddle face of WWE. He can wrestle with everyone. You know, he does whatever. Do you believe Perk Angle is one of the best versions of Kurt wrestling wise? Perk Angle is one of the best wrestlers of all time. It's just that simple. When am I going to hop on 2K? Like NBA 2K? Amir, I suck at NBA 2K. And I don't even know if they still have my character. I deleted the game and then I reloaded it, and I think I lost my character. So I may have to do all that BS again or buy some. I ain't going to try to buy some VC, to be honest. I'll just be like a 70 overall rebounding big or something. But yeah, no, like if we do all-star team up, sure, why not? But I don't know if my character or anything like that. Like I think I'll be useless in the rec. But yeah, just let me know whenever you guys want to play, and we can work out the schedule. A lot of times, man, when I get home too, especially on weekdays, go 9:30, go 8:30 to 5:30, man. And I get home, I work out. When I turn on that PS5, I want to catch up on videos that I missed on YouTube. I want to catch up on a Netflix show. And I'm going to play some Kingdom Hearts right now. Every spring, I play Kingdom Hearts. I play all the Kingdom Hearts games every single spring. And that's like my tradition for every spring. So I always start in February. By the time May rolls around, I'm done with Kingdom Hearts. So that's what I normally do. And now with the third one, it may last till June. But I'll definitely find time to play some NBA 2K. I'll be the one complaining not getting enough title shots. Yeah, no, I'll tell you, just man up. It's try a VR game called VR Chat. It's a free social game where you can do anything you want. I don't have a VR device, but that sounds fun. Savage 80s HBK New Generation Punk PG era, for example. Okay. What's up, Nate? How you doing, my friend? What are your overall thoughts on the Saints Row the Third? It went too far away from like what made Saints Row 1 and 2 good games. Like, it was ambitious. I appreciate the ambition, but I didn't like it. Christian Cage has the greatest job. Big pay. Watch Jungle Boy and Dragon work. Big pay. Repeat. Exactly. Who would win, Abyss or Kane? Oh, Kane's beating Abyss ass all day. Abyss just jobs. Kane would actually win matches. Abyss literally was like there to build up someone and just lose. How sick would it be if WWF and WCW had a brand slip type of deal where they would trade wrestlers, and like imagine NW and DXP on the same brand? Dude, that'd be so sick. Mr. Meaty was weird, as if anyone remembers that. What, Mr. Meaty? Chase, how do you feel about a shared anime universe like the Connected Out Shonen, like Yu Yu Hakusho, DBZ, Hunter x Hunter, Naruto, Bleach, One Piece? Do you think it's a cool concept? It would be too confusing because I'm a big power scaling guy. So you're going to have to try to convince me how like anyone can beat Goku, which I don't think any of those fools can beat Goku. Do you remember during the Michael Cole versus Jerry Lawler feud, Brian Christopher returned to Raw and got the most awkward crowd reaction? Oh, yeah, dude. Like, it was so bad, too. He looked out of shape, man. It was like, ugh. In them early days, TNA, I always thought Chris Sabin and AJ Styles were going to be the guys. Who did you think was going to be big but flopped in TNA? Funny enough, he's in AEW. Lance Hoyt. They were shoving that boy down our throats, man. It was beating everyone. He beat Monty Brown at one point. I thought Lance Hoyt was going to for sure be a stud for TNA. Like as a company, I thought he was going to be their face. Crimson, another guy. He's a more recent. I wouldn't even say he's more recent. He's like about 10 years old now. Crimson was a guy that I felt was going to be a huge star, not just in TNA, but in professional wrestling. And he flopped in TNA. I would almost say Matt Morgan is a flop for TNA too. Like Matt Morgan, I thought was going to be one of the guys. If you're talking about like TNA originals though, oh, Frankie Kazarian, Jay Lethal, like let's be real here. Yeah, they had good careers in TNA, but like, did they ever win the TNA World Title? Like Jay Lethal ended up being Mr. Ring of Honor, and Frankie Kazarian, he got his gimmick stolen by other wrestlers. Yeah, I'm a big time Alabama fan. Andrew Garfield is goated for getting high while reading the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man script. What? I gotta see this video. Christian's best matches in WWE. Oh man, dude, there's so many. I'm not gonna count tag matches. Him versus Orton's were like that whole trilogy was good. He had a good match with Del Rio. at the SummerSlam. It was like they were doing like the whole like hyping up, like I just want one more shot. Like he was like a baby face at this time. It was like good. I always remember he had like the spear, the crowd went ape shit because they thought he was gonna win and stuff. That was a good match. He's had a couple of good IC title matches that I can't think of off the top of my head. What's the update on streaming video games to YouTube? I think it's best to stick to YouTube without being exclusive to Twitch affiliate partnership. There's I'll be honest with you, there's no update right now. There's nothing. I just don't know what's it called? I just don't know what to stream, and I prefer just doing this. I'm not good enough to do mixing and everything like that. So just being real. Like, will I stream one day? Sure, but I don't know what I will stream and what I do want to stream, and if it's something that I would like doing, you know. Just being real, it's not something I want to do. Like Rona Ghost, if you want to stream on your channel, I'll definitely support you for doing that. But streaming video games for me, it's like kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah, they're like, what? Like I can't control what other people do if they're in the chat too. So if they're saying stuff that can get me in trouble, I don't want to deal with that too. Be back going to take out the garbage, man. Oh man, no worries. I'm actually going to end the stream up anytime soon. If I share my PSN name, yeah, I can share it with you guys. It's just Smiles for Everyone. So Smiles, the number 4, everyone. That's my PSN name. I'll type it out in the chat too for you guys. But yeah, just know for the PSN, I'll be honest. Like I said, like for me, sometimes when I'm on PSN, it's for me to wind down and relax and just chill for a little bit. But yeah, you guys can add me for sure. Don't get butthurt if I don't play with you in a video game. It's nothing personal. It's just, it's like when I work at 9 to 5, sometimes, man, I like to wind down and relax. I like small little window to do a lot of things. I didn't watch Survivor, man. It was pretty bad, to be honest. I felt they did a little bit too much this past season. I heard Australian Survivor's picking up, though. How would I book WWF versus WCW Invasion angle? I would have bought out all the contracts from Turner. I would have had the NWO be the main feature. I would have had WCW won the Survivor Series match, and then I would have had it where the WWF won at WrestleMania 28, WrestleMania 18. Simple. Well, you could say the same thing. Thor and Scarlet Witch in the MCU. Majority of people can't beat them. For what? Which wrestler has the real reign of terror? Triple H or Jeff Jarrett? Oh, Triple H. He was not putting anyone over. He was like so frustrated, always being behind Rock and Austin, even Jericho. He was so frustrated. He was just like, screw it. I'm not putting over anyone. AEW's peak of entertainment 2019 till Moxley won the title. Then that short period when Punk and Bryan came to AEW last year. It's still too early. AEW is only 3 years old. It's too early to say what their peak is. But if you're going to say a peak, that's probably their peak. All right. Let me go ahead and share the PSN. That's the PSN. That's actually also to my Xbox username. So if you guys want to add me, you guys can add me on those platforms. And once again, if I don't play a game or join your chat, nothing personal. It's just, hey, I gotta chill. I gotta wind down myself. Like I'm one of those people. I love it. So yeah, no, just send me a request. I'll add you and stuff like that. But like I said, if I don't see your messages or anything, it's nothing personal. It's just I like to wind down too, man. Like I'm a human being just like everyone else, man. I can't always be you gotta be selfish in life, and sometimes it's selfish for me when it comes to video games. But anyways, thank you all for tuning in to tonight's stream. I had a good time. I'll see you guys for a Q&A stream later this week. When will I do it? Just depends. Most likely not Friday, but maybe Thursday we can sneak one in. It just depends because I'm on a great workout routine. Gotta kill it. Gotta keep doing it, and I'm loving it. But thank you guys so much. I'll see you all next time. Enjoy your day. Peace.